Now we come for the last philosophers, Aristotle. The emergence of Aristotle as one of the foremost philosophical minds in the history of the world reflects the positive conjunction of several factors. First, the boy, a native or a Greek colony, who is sometimes called the study kid, forget about me, was often of a member of a medical guild of Archippus and court physicians. So forget about all those names. Under the influence of his father's prestige and vast knowledge of anatomy, Aristotle received encouragement to study biology and to develop the investigative techniques which were his most useful contribution to science. At the age of 17, Aristotle came under a second great influence when he enrolled at Plato's academy outside Athens. Under the guidance of one of the outstanding educators of the age, Aristotle, over a 20-year period, polished his raw talents with a refined awareness of, pay attention, ethics, aesthetics, and philosophy. Plato nicknamed his pupil the Reader because of his encyclopedic knowledge, which he gained from constant and broad-based reading, and almost immediately made him an instructor of rhetoric. Despite anecdotes to the contrary, Aristotle held Plato in high esteem even during the latter portion of his life, when he turned away from Platonic theory to found his own Aristotelian school of thought. Rounding out his sphere of interests was a tutorial relationship with Alexander the Great, Iskender, who was then 13 years old. During this period, which he spent in the royal palace, forget about the names, Aristotle developed his interest in constitutions and government and wrote two treatises on political science for Alexander to use as textbooks. He strove to influence the boy's life by teaching him magnanimity, a basic tenet of Aristotle's philosophy, and assigned him the reading of Homer's Iliad. Alexander came under the spell of Homer and chose Achilles as the model for his later heroics. The relationship between teacher and student was reciprocal, in that Alexander endowed Aristotle's library and museum in Athens and contributed to his collection of flora and fauna, with rare specimens from eastern Mediterranean lands. The impact of Aristotle's teaching inspired Alexander to initiate research projects, including a study of the flooding of Nile River and the exploration of the Euphrates and Indus rivers. Unfortunately, Aristotle broke off all correspondence with his former pupil when Alexander, by then converted to Persian ways, Aristotle's nephew and disciple, someone murdered for refusing to prostrate himself in the Oriental manner. After Plato's death, Aristotle made a break from the academy and Plato's successor, citing as his reason as an increased emphasis on mathematics to the detriment of his first love, biology. Accompanied by his friend, he journeyed to some places. At the invention of Hernius, who became tyrant of Athenius, Aristotle enjoyed the status of special guest and court philosopher. In deference to Aristotle's liberal teachings, Hernius modified his views on governance from strict tyranny to democratic representation for citizens of some place. At the age of 45, Aristotle married someone, Hermias' niece, an adopted daughter. The marriage ended when his wife died, bearing their only child, a daughter, and then Aristotle married a second time. Forget about the names. They had a son. Forget about the name of his son. According to Aristotle's will, The philosopher devoted much time to his family and gave liberally to all, including his servants and their families, whom he freed at the time of his death. Although Aristotle refused to accept the equality of male and female, he didn't accept the equality between male and female. He took a strong stand in favor of the friendship between husband and wife, and condemned the practice of pederasty as a loathsome, barbaric vice. He organized his first group of disciples in the town of somewhere. He joined with his nephew. Aristotle expressed warm feelings toward Hermes for fostering their intellectual colony. Aristotle opened a lyceum, günümüzdeki lise olarak kabul edin, in the sacred grove of Apollo Lyceus, northeast of Athens, the school which exposed a contradictory view of learning from Plato, nurtured a stimulating rivalry with Plato's academy. His students earned the name, forget about the name, and there was as a dynamic lecturer, Aristotle succeeded in his role of educator, but he was forced out of Athens after public opinion turned against Macedonian influence following the death of Alexander. Bu halen de devam etmekte. Under the charge of impiety for writing a opinion to Hermes and wishing to spare Athens, another opportunity to commit a crime against philosophy, Aristotle avoided the grisly death suffered by Socrates and returned to his native land. On a plot of land owned by his late mother, he spent his last years reading and studying mythology. He died of stomach disease somewhere. Aristotle is thought to have written some 400 scholarly works on education, scientific observation, and thoughts at large, of which 50 survive, came to our time. Despite questions of authenticity concerning nearly half of these works, the canon of Aristotle's philosophy has had great influence on succeeding generations of thinkers, including, pay attention, Dante, Thomas Aquinas. He viewed the natural world through the eyes of the biologist and established principles of classification for all living things. He applied these biological principles to all spheres of human knowledge, from forecasting the weather to composing oaths. His logic is decidedly individual. Although he was influenced by Plato, he departed from Plato's mystical idealism and relied more heavily on deductive logic as it applies to observable phenomena. In turn, Aristotle displays the cool, objective eye of the empiricist. In personal relationships, he preferred tolerance and wisdom to harsh argumentation and prejudice. The entire structure of modern scientific inquiry owes much to his untiring exploration of universal truth. Sevgili öğrencilerim, bu dönem başından beri sizlerle fazla bir karşı karşıya gelemesek de yaklaşık bir ay kadar, böyle 15-20 gün kadar bir yüz yüze ders yaptık ama ondan sonra da derslerimizi daha çok online üzerinden gerçekleştirmeye çalıştık. Konularımızı bitirdik çok şükür. Umarım dersimden biraz zevk almışsınızdır. Umarım gene bazı önemli konular üzerinde sizleri aydınlatmaya gitmişimdir. Dolayısıyla demin de söylediğim gibi dersimin final sınavını DBS üzerinden yayınlayacağım. Sizlere başarılı bir final dönemi diliyorum. Güzel bir tatil yaparsınız inşallah ailelerinizle ve inşallah şu koronavirüs musibeti de güzel ülkemizden kalkar gider. Sizlere hoşça kalın derken her şeyin gönlünüze göre olmasını diliyorum. Kendinize iyi bakın lütfen.